I was just gonna say, okay, where are you gonna cut off? Like, you just kept talking.
Down to the wire.
How's it going, guys? I'm Shawn and Andrés,
I'm Andrés Franken.
and this is Down to the Wire. This is our NBA preview. We are doing two separate videos today, one on the East and one on the West, breaking down, just going through all the divisions. We already did our Eastern Conference video. This is the second video, but if you're watching this for some reason, this is part one, I guess, for you. So we wrapped up the East. Now we're going to the West, and we'll start with the Northwest. Which teams are you looking at in this division?
I think the team that you kind of have to go to in this division is the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think they're going to be the most improved team in the league, not just this division. They are one of the most promising teams in the NBA. They have Karl Anthony Towns, who was voted the player that GMs would want to build their team around, ahead of LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. That's incredible for a guy that's in his second year. If you join him next to Wiggins and Levine, you have arguably the next big three that we'll be talking about. They had Kevin Garnett there last year mentoring them. Now he's retiring, and he's passing on the torch to these guys to accomplish something that he was never able to do himself, potentially, eventually, win an NBA title. Last year they only had 26 wins. They were still a young, inexperienced team, but they built off from the season before. And this year, they're just going to keep getting better. I also think it's going to be interesting to watch the Utah Jazz. I think they're going to get back into the playoffs, and I think they might be able to turn some heads. They have a really great front court with Rudy Gobert and Derek Favors, and they added a ton of depth in the offseason. Guys like Boris Diaw and Joe Johnson, who are going to be really great in their second unit. Diaw especially will really help them because Utah Jazz finished 28th in the league last year in assists. They really had trouble creating opportunities for everybody on the floor. And Diaw is a really crafty big man, so he's going to be able to get the ball moving around. If the front court is really good for the Utah Jazz this season, which it should be considering they added George Hill, and they're able to get more touches on the ball, more assists, they could be a very exciting team to watch as well.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you with the Utah Jazz. I feel like injuries and poor execution last season is what really kept them out of the playoff spot by just ever so slightly. And like you said, along with the addition of George Hill and a strong bench, which they have a lot of depth, I think that they can finally end their 4-year playoff drought. The other team I'm looking at in this division is the Thunder, and that's for all the other reasons. They did lose Durant, Ibaka, and Dion Waiters. That's definitely going to make them take a huge step back because those were three good talents on their team, and unfortunately they did have to lose them, Durant walking out and joining the Warriors. But this team has now gone instantly from one win away from the finals to potentially struggling to make the playoffs. I think that they can still make it because they do have an amazing talent in Westbrook. I think that he can lead this team and carry this team on his back. He does have some nice pieces in there to help him out. So I think that they can still get the job done, but they are going to struggle to make the playoffs this season. So now we're going to move on to the Southwest, and who are you looking at in this division?
Okay, well, here I have to talk about my favorite team, the team that I know the best, and that is San Antonio. What to look for specifically? I honestly think that Greg Popovich is going to face his toughest test since taking over this team. Tim Duncan's retirement represents not just a really big hole on the defensive end of the floor, but also something that's now missing in what he built with the San Antonio system, the culture that's built there. I think it's going to be really tough to maintain that work ethic. They do have the franchise in really good hands. They have transitioned. Kawhi Leonard is clearly the new franchise player. But this offseason, there was a huge overturn in terms of how many new guys have come in. And it's going to come down to Pop, as well as Ginobili and Parker, to teach this guys the way that the Spurs play. I think San Antonio is still going to be a really, really good team. A lot of people have them finishing second in the West still. But I think that it's more likely that this is going to be a transition year for them. Pau Gasol is really going to help with the loss of Tim Duncan. Plays the same position. Arguably better offensively, especially if you consider how Tim was playing in his last couple of seasons on the offensive floor. but not nearly as effective on defense. So that is a really big concern. They have some really strong young players coming up. Guys that have already been around, guys like Kyle Anderson and Jonathan Simmons, I think are going to take a really big step forward this year. They have shown really good flashes of skill, and I think they're going to step into more important roles this season. But then they also have rookies, guys like Davis Bertans, who could be a really exciting player in a couple of years, so look out for him as well. I don't think they're going to drop off. I think they will be back next season, and if not, the year after that.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. That was one of the teams that I was looking at this season and in the Southwest. And another team that I'm going to mention here is the Pelicans. I feel like they can be better. Last season they did finish 12th, and they started Nate Robinson and Kendrick Perkins on opening night, and things only got marginally better from there. I feel like this team can execute better. They have Anthony Davis, and he is one of the best players in the NBA. And I think that he has a decent enough group around him to really, well, I don't think they're going to compete for a playoff spot here, but I think that they can do better than 12th in the season.
Yeah, and because there's such a big gap in talent this year between the Golden State Warriors and the rest of the teams, usually it's so hard fought. I think the Pelicans might actually be able to get into the playoffs. You never know. It's still really going to be a really tough fight in the West, but I think they definitely have a shot. Let's head over to the Pacific, and if you want, I'll start so we can leave the Warriors for the grand finale.
Might as well, right?
So I'm going to talk about a different team, and that is the LA Clippers. And I think the LA Clippers are actually the team that might challenge the Warriors for the top spot in the West. I have them above the Spurs, which for me is a huge thing.
It's good to cry.
And the reason is that I think this will be a bounce back year for LA. The door has finally opened for them to take advantage of how good of a team they are. They had a lot of injuries at the end of last season. They fell apart in the playoffs. They're still the same group of guys that teams in the West have feared every year. And that says a lot for such a difficult conference to play. And everybody knows that the West is a lot more difficult to play in than the East. And with so many other teams going through shakeups, the Thunder are no longer the third or second best team in the West because of all the losses they've had. Like I just mentioned, the Spurs, I think, are going to have a transition year. So if there's a time for the LA Clippers to be able to make the NBA Finals, it's right now.
It's a bold prediction because is the Warriors the dream team this season? Or do they have too many superstars? Because our last video, we talked about that. The last season they had Curry and Thompson absolutely destroying everyone. And they finished with 73 wins out of 82 games. For some reason, they felt the need to go out and get Kevin Durant. Can this team get any more OP than that? They have a trio now of Thompson, Curry, and Kevin Durant. This is actually happening, and I don't think anyone's going to compete with them in the division, let alone the league. I think they will take it unless they struggle for some reason because too many superstars. I think that coming up short in the finals is what really pushed for this to happen. They came up short against the Cavs, as we all know. They were on pace to win it. Everyone thought that they could win it. I think that this year they really want to just win it once and for all. And adding Kevin Durant will definitely increase those chances by a lot. And I don't think anyone's going to compete with them because this team is just simply overpowered. And why does everyone else play? Just let them win already.
We'll see about that. Well, I don't think it's that much of a given. It's definitely much heavier odds for one team than it has been in recent memory. I don't even think the Miami Heat had these kind of
Miami Heat had Bosh, LeBron, and Wade. This team has Curry, Thompson, and Durant. This team is a whole different three-headed monster, and it's scary, and let's just leave it at that. Alright, so that's it for today's video. Don't forget to hit like if you liked it, hit subscribe if you really liked it, and continue to share our videos. We really appreciate the support.
If this is the first video you're watching, don't forget that we did do the Eastern Conference preview, so
yeah, we didn't forget.
You can go ahead and watch that other one. And always we appreciate your comments of what you liked, what you didn't like.
We will add a segment next NBA video. We have one. We just didn't use it this time. So yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you guys later.